Hi guys, I just thought I'd do a little bit on centering today because that's the bit that people always struggle with, and without being totally centered you can't really do very much. So I'm just going to show you some kind of pitfalls and ways of centering. So you need to wet your hands, and when you start off the wheel needs to be, I'd say, 80% of the speed. So this is full pelt and this is 80%. So I've got the clay on the wheel head. The first thing is make sure the wheel head is relatively dry, that it's not wet underneath the clay. And then what you're going to do is press the clay down onto the wheel head to start so it sticks to the wheel. And then once you've done that, we're going to be squeezing and coning the clay up. So brace your hands. You want to put your weight over the wheel head and either brace onto the side of the wheel or onto your legs, but in a position where you're creating that kind of A shape. So I'm going to squeeze in the bottom of the clay and just squeeze the clay up. So you can see my hands are really rigid in that A shape as I'm squeezing that clay up like that. Okay, and then once I've got that, then the left hand is going to tuck in onto my leg, tuck into the clay, and my right hand is going to press down. So I'm pressing down like that, so you can see the clay moving down like that, and that'll hit the left hand, which isn't moving, it's anchored down, and then create this dome shape. Okay, so I'm pressing down, pressing in with my left hand, like that, and into the middle. And you can test if that's centered just by holding your finger against the form. If it isn't centered, if it's centered, it'll just run flat against your finger. If it's not centered, it'll be bouncing like that. If it's doing that, there's not a problem. You can cone it back up. So squeezing the clay, pulling up. And this is kind of homogenizing all the clay particles, getting any air bubbles out. So it's not harming the clay. What you don't want to do though is keep doing it till the clay's really soggy. So maybe 4 or 5 times, and then push back down with my right hand, anchoring in with my left hand, like that. So he's trying to create that kind of small, low dome like that. And if you've got humps and bumps on the outside but it's relatively centred, you could always take something like a small rib, just hold that against the side of the clay, and it just tidies up that clay before you start to pull up. There we go.